Hello everybody, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I'm going to be doing kind of a more informative type of video. This video I'm going to basically be talking about my experience as a P1 intern for community IPPEs, and as I'm filming this right now I am a P2. I just finished my first semester of P2 year, so yeah, I figured it'd be a good time to go ahead and film this since the information is still pretty fresh in my brain. But let's just go ahead and get started, I guess. But I do want to say that if I look down, that's because I have some notes on my computer here. I just want to make sure that I get every single point that I outlined beforehand so I don't miss anything. So don't worry about that. But first off, I'm going to start off with how I'm going to structure this. So I'm going to go over an overview and then my feelings throughout the process, what I did in the pharmacy, and then any final thoughts that I have about the experience that I had. So first off, let's just start with the overview. So I did 2 semesters of community pharmacy, 80 hours each, so that's a total of 160 hours. And any one shift, I typically worked about 3 to 8 hours, but that's totally customizable. It kind of just depends on your schedule, the pharmacy's schedule, and just that kind of stuff. And your preferences as well. I'll kind of get more into that later. But then I had a 30-minute lunch, and for me, that didn't count towards my hours, though for some it may. It just depends on the preceptor, because I know that I had friends who their 30-minute lunches counted towards their 80 hours, but for me it didn't. And so I did mine at Walmart, but there's so many community pharmacies that you could be placed at. Options like CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Costco, things like that. And I know that I had a friend as well that did theirs at a smaller community hospital pharmacy, but they did their community IPPEs at the hospital. Kind of confusing, but there's a lot of options to choose from for community. And the way that my school determines where you go, so basically there's a list of participating pharmacies and then we preference those. And the school selects everybody's rotation sites, trying to get everyone something on the higher end of what they chose, with their preferences. Some people got luckier than others. I turned out to be pretty lucky. I got the 7th option on my list, so I feel very lucky about that. And the nice thing is that your preceptor and the pharmacy works with your schedule. So for my site, first semester, I had to work with another intern. Basically, I got her contact information and we just talked back and forth and made we shared a schedule, and then we inputted when we could do our hours there to make sure we don't overlap. But second semester, I just had to send in my schedule myself. I didn't have to directly work with anyone. So I just basically sent in my schedule with my time and my availabilities, and this is when I would like to work. Is this okay with you? Does this work with your schedule? And then she was like, yes, this is fine. So that's how my pharmacy did it. I'm not sure if that's universal across the board, but that's at least how mine did the scheduling. And so that's basically it for the overview. Now I'm going to talk about my feelings throughout the process. Initially, I was really nervous because I never stepped foot in a pharmacy before. But I really appreciated beforehand that my preceptor asked if I had any prior experiences in the pharmacy, and which I didn't, because that helped ease my nerves. And then they also knew kind of what to expect with an intern coming in, because sometimes you get interns coming in at various levels. You get them that all the way from, I have never stepped foot in a pharmacy, I have no idea what I'm doing, all the way to, oh yeah, I've worked many years before, I know what I'm doing. So I was on this end of the spectrum, but it really helped ease my nerves knowing that she asked that, because I was like, okay, they know that I'm a beginner and I'm gonna be like a sponge. I'm gonna absorb all the information that they throw at me. But as the time went on throughout my IPPEs, I definitely gained a lot more confidence in my abilities, and that just came with a lot of practice, because you're just constantly working and doing stuff and learning stuff from all the techs, and over time you just gain a lot more confidence and in your abilities. So yeah, and everyone at the pharmacy was super nice, and they were always welcoming to any questions that I had. If I had any questions about the process or any questions about like, hey, I'm not really sure where this medication is located, like, could you show me? They were really open to any questions I had to make sure that I felt comfortable and I knew exactly what I was doing. So now for like what I did in the pharmacy, I'm guessing this is where a lot of people are curious about, like, oh, what are you going to be doing as a P1 intern for community IPPEs? So what I did, mainly I filled prescriptions. So I basically walk in, grab a scanner. I didn't have my own like login ID, so I had to basically find a pharmacist or a tech to sign in for me using their ID, and then I just had to make sure that they were in the pharmacy while I was filming, because you're not allowed to fill with their ID if they're not present. So for example, if they went on their lunch break, then I would have to sign out for them and then go to another person and ask them to sign in. So I would do that, grab a scanner, and then immediately start with that, just immediately start filling. That's kind of just what happens when I walk in. And I would occasionally give consultations on easy and basic medications such as pain meds, antibiotics, blood pressure meds, supplements and vitamins, kind of stuff like that. Very basic information where, you know, as a P1 student, you know this stuff already. And sometimes I reconstituted solutions. That was kind of fun. I didn't get to do it a ton, but it was pretty fun. And occasionally I did call patients to remind them that their meds are ready for pickup. So how Walmart works is that we have these like lists of like patients who haven't picked up their medications according to the amount of days that their medications have been ready. So the maximum that we keep the medications before we return them back to the stock is 10 days. So I would call like the day 9s, the day 8s, basically, and be like, you know, hi, this is Katie, the intern pharmacist from blah, 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 blah. Just letting you know, I would let them know that their medication's ready for pickup, kind of remind them, because a lot of people forgot. So it's just another way to make sure that patients are able to take the medications that they need. So sometimes I would also put back RTSs, which is return to stocks, which is just like prescriptions that maybe patients didn't want anymore, or prescriptions that patients didn't pick up, stuff like that. And then we return them back to where they belong on the shelves in the correct like area, in the bottle, like not like, no, don't pour them back in the bottle, but like in the little prescription bottle, but in there. This next thing didn't apply to my pharmacy, but I know that some of my friends also vaccinated patients. I was, you know, at this point in time, like certified for giving vaccinations, but that's just not something that my pharmacy really did for the IPPEs interns there. But I know a couple of my friends did give vaccinations, so that also is a possibility if you're a community intern. And last but not least, I always made sure to be busy. So if there was nothing to do, I would walk around like the back of the pharmacy where all the medications are. I would study the medications on the shelves, like what's the brand name, what's the generic, do I know what it's for? I got familiar with all the locations as well, so that when I'm filling and it's super busy, I can fill the medications a lot faster. I don't have to spend time looking for them and be like, oh man, where is that one? Like, I was like, oh yeah, I studied where that was in my off time, so I can easily go there quickly and pick it up. So that's basically overall what I did in the pharmacy. The last section that I have here is my final thoughts on my experience at community. So overall, it was a wonderful experience. I really enjoyed it. I made wonderful connections with everyone there. I really love everyone there to pieces. They're all such amazing people. And I learned a lot. I honestly think I learned more about like medications and drugs during my IPPEs than I did that year during school. Probably because I'm more of like a visual learner and hands-on learner. So I would see these medications, and every time I would see their brand name and their generic together, and then, you know, as soon as you see that so many times, it just stays and it clicks. Indication's a little harder because obviously that's not on the bottle, but as I would study a medication in class, like I would keep my eyeballs out for it while on IPPEs and be like, oh yes, we learned this one in class, that's what that looks like, and kind of put like a picture to the medication in my head. And it just felt really nice to have been able to help patients and to have made a difference in their lives, because you are doing that. A lot of patients come in, they need help with their medications, and even if you're just doing like the behind the scenes stuff and not too many consultations, not too much face-to-face interaction, you're still helping out these patients a lot. So yeah, that pretty much rounds up my experience working in a community pharmacy from my second semester and third semester in P1 year. I worked at the same place, like the same site. That's generally recommended. But if you, like, for example, like are not the biggest fan of your site, or you just want to change sites, you are able to do that. But I really, really liked my site and I wanted to stay. So I asked my preceptor, made sure she was okay with it, and then, you know, told the school that I was staying with the same site. But yeah, so that basically wraps up everything. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, additional questions, you can leave them in the comment section below and I will try my best to answer them as best as I can. But that's about it. I will see you next Sunday for another video. Bye.